Raton City Commission to order. Ms. Trio, could we have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Sagata.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley.
Present.
Commissioner Schuster.
Present.
Commissioner Giacomo. And Commissioner Honeyfield.
Here. Y'all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody here this evening. Thanks for coming out on this first cool night of the fall. Appreciate it. A couple of announcements. All city offices will be closed Tuesday, November 11th, in honor of Veterans Day. We will be having a special we will have a special commission meeting Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We are moving it to the 12th because of the holiday on the 11th, on Tuesday. So we're just moving it to Wednesday. At this time, I'll take committee reports from the commission. Commissioner Honeyfield. Commissioner Schuster.
All right. I did attend a regulation and licensure board meeting. There's actually nothing that's pertinent to the city that was on that agenda. But there was no lodgers tax board meeting this month, and I was unable to make the water board meeting. So aside from today's festivities at the Economic Development Summit, I have no other report.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right. I attended the Ports to Plains annual conference that was in Lubbock, Texas. I was there for 2 days, September 30th through October 1st. Ports to Plains had some tech issues and lost their email and website a week before the conference, but I think they're back online now. But they did lose some emails, which we found out as we were going through some different things. So if you would try to get a hold of anyone over there, try again. I attended the board meeting that Tuesday afternoon, and there's a huge focus on building a national coalition to support a future federal interstate highway bill in the surface transportation authorization next fall. We have other highway coalitions on board, and the focus is on future interstate formula funding. The city and Colfax County Commissions already passed resolutions supporting this, so we are already working on that. In New Mexico, the state DOT has procured a consultant team with some of the congressional funding that we secured as part of our lobbying efforts in Washington, D.C. The study will be a blueprint for location studies in Clayton and Raton and the communities in between. I had the opportunity to meet the company and the subcontractor that are in the process of contracting for this service, and there will be quite a bit of public input once the process starts. Secretary Cerna of the NMDOT is interested in a signage ceremony, so we will keep an eye on that up here somewhere in the next little while. And President Lauren Garduno was also asked to speak at the NMDOT Annual Summit in Albuquerque. So the relations between Ports to Plains and the New Mexico Department of Transportation are very strong. There is a possibility of 2 trips to Washington, D.C. next year, the annual fly-in as well as some lobbying later in the year with the surface transportation bill. And once again, as we all know, all federal community-directed spending requests are up in the air due to federal budget issues. I attended several sessions. One was on it was quite a long presentation on advancing trade with border connectivity between Canada and Mexico to create Fortress North America, as they call it, for more national stability and looking at highways as economic corridors. Very interesting, really interesting presenter from Canada's legislature. There were also sessions on city location studies, which will be very timely as that's going to be happening to us very soon. It just recommended that we get as many people from the public to show up as possible and get involved as possible with the goal to preserve our corridor and add development in a positive way. It does take, according to this timeline, about 10 to 12 years from that location study to get to construction if things keep moving along. It can be shorter, but as everyone knows, government takes a long time. One other cool session I attended was about AI tabletop exercises where they had multiple cities in Texas that ran scenarios with multiple natural disaster and transportation problems all at once, and they really recommended that we get together with other cities and do the same thing, and kind of, what things could happen and what could we learn from that. And the next board meeting is to be decided. The Municipal League Board of Directors met on Zoom October 2nd. We discussed the priorities for the 2026 legislative session, including water and wastewater funding, streamlining the water fund project approvals, enabling municipalities to invest with State Investment Council, and law enforcement recruitment and retention. And the league is going to continue to keep working on IPRA reform and potential preemption issues and any revenue erosion issues. I attended the Climax Canyon Public Project meeting October 6th, which was a very good meeting with more input. I attended the Water Board meeting on October 21st. It was pretty quick. Besides financials and the regular stuff, the 3 million gallon tank project is taking longer than expected. There's a little concern there because we need to expend those funds by a certain amount of time. And we had to add some cathodic protection in the tank. Don't ask me exactly what exactly that all is, but it's pretty cool stuff with keeping rust and whatnot out of the tank, I believe. So that is going on. They're testing communication alternatives with cellular for the Cimarron system, as the radios have had so many issues. And we'll probably hold off on phase 2 if we get awarded the Lake Maloya project with the Water Trust Board. So we're waiting on that. They held the New Mexico Interstate Stream Commission hearings, and Lloyd spent a lot of time with that. And they have a revised plan that they'll have back in December based on the feedback. Lloyd and others visited the State Engineer and Dam Safety Bureau in Santa Fe. I believe Dan Campbell was part of that visit, about some water projects, and they seem supportive. The Water Board meets monthly on the third Tuesdays at 5 p.m. right here in the Commission chambers and is open to the public, so come join us. I was unable to attend the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District Board on the 23rd, but our next executive committee meeting will be November 20th. The Raton Clayton Interchange Bridge Artwork Committee is communicating via email, and very, very soon we should have, they have these cool, like, I guess it's kind of virtual reality thing where you can play the video as if you're driving under the bridge and be able to see what the artwork is going to look like and kind of the top. It's going to be super awesome. And so they're just getting the art into the construction plans. Very excited about that. And it reflects Raton's branding. And then today, I was at the Economic Development Summit, and that's what I had.
Thank you, ma'am. As for myself, I was at the Economic Summit today. I did attend the North Central meeting, as I am part of that organization. We did introduce, and I'm happy to say, my replacement, Mr. Danny Osborne. He will become the new director for the Non-Metro Area Agency on Aging. Then what I thought was really interesting with this meeting, we got to hear from all the communities that are with North Central and what's going on in their communities, and it was nice to hear what's going on, a lot of similar things to what's going on in our community, and a lot of the challenges that are in our community as well. So that was good to hear. We'll be attending Self-Insurers Fund later this week meeting. Did attend the RPS meeting last night where we awarded a contract for the building construction of the new warehouse, $1.85 million. That was awarded to Archuleta Construction. When is that going to probably begin? Maybe spring, I would guess, Jaden?
Yeah, we don't have a date set in stone yet.
Yeah, so I would guess spring. Talked a little bit about the conversion projects going on, especially taking the A-base meters off of the houses because those are extremely dangerous now. Causing fires. Got the old knob and spool, I call them. Could be interesting times. So we're in the middle of that conversion process. And we talked about the audit going on. There's some issues with the assets, the way they're listed on the asset report and in the budget, trying to figure out just what's going on there. So we're going to be investigating that. But other than that was it. All righty, right at this moment, we will take items from citizens present. Again, I'll remind you, if you are here to speak about a specific item on the agenda, please wait until that item comes up. If not, we will take comments now, but I'm going to interrupt everybody because I know this gentleman has to get on the road. I want to introduce everybody to the new Executive Director for North Central New Mexico Economic Development District, Mr. Santiago Chavez. My boss for the next few weeks anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I had an opportunity to visit with many of you today. Again, my name is Santiago Chavez. I'm the new Executive Director for North Central Economic Development District, which acts as the COG, the Council of Governments for North Central New Mexico. Very pleased to be here in person. I got to tour a couple of our Restoring Our Communities, so the houses sites that we've been working on here in the community. I've been on the job about 7 weeks. Had the, had a couple of charges that I had to do is fill some positions, some vacancies, including the replacement for our mayor, who's the director of the non-metro AAA program for aging. As the mayor said, his name is Danny Osborne. He starts on Monday. I've been joking, he goes to the same barber as our mayor. He got the same hairstyle, same wardrobe, and they're about the same age, so hopefully he can continue on the good work. I also was joking with him that I was trying to keep him on a little bit longer, and he said that I'd have to pay for a good divorce lawyer. So I offered to do that, but then I met his wife today, and I'm happy for him to be able to retire, and very happy for you and the First Lady. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a rural New Mexico guy. I grew up in a small town called Torreon, New Mexico. It's at the foot of the Manzano Mountains. I went to high school in Estancia. I'm a proud veteran of the 82nd Airborne. I served for 3 years honorably, and I used the GI Bill to help me go to college. I have a bachelor's in finance from UNM, a master's of business from UNM, and a master's of accounting from UNM. I worked 6 years at PNM. I did fixed asset accounting and depreciation at PNM in Albuquerque. And I have a long career in serving local government. I was the municipal treasurer for the town of Bernalillo, where I live now. My wife's from Bernalillo, so I'm pretty much from Bernalillo now. And then a new mayor came in, and I was out of a job. But at the end of her term, I was did a short stint as the town manager. After that, I worked at the New Mexico Finance Authority and did capital financing for local governments. And I did about 8 years at the New Mexico Association of Counties. I did some policy work. I was the lobbyist for county treasurers and county assessors. And during that time, I did quite a bit of time serving Colfax County for different county managers, different county commissioners. I also partnered with Bill Salvo when he was county commissioner on the Southwest Chief funding that he was working on at the time. And again, I left that job and did a short stint at the city of Albuquerque as the mayor's chief of staff for about a year, but I was working about 100 hours a week, and that job almost killed me. So had the opportunity to be the property tax division director. So for 3 years, I was a property tax division director, and again, it gave me an opportunity to work with local governments and county treasurers and county assessors. And then for the last 2 years, I was the director of audit and compliance for all tax programs, not just property tax. And because I was a governor appointee, I knew that my position was be ending in a year, most likely, because there's a change with the new governor, and I saw the opportunity to build upon the good work that Monica Abeta did as the executive director, and I applied for the job, and I'm sincerely honored to have been given the job, and I look forward to working with all of you and to continue to support the partnership with Colfax County and all the communities within. So that being said, it's a sincere pleasure to be here, and I'll stand for any questions if any of you have any.
Any questions for Mr. Chavez?
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed you at our board meeting, but I look forward to working with you again. I love all the new titles, Mayor Pro Tem, for me, board member, but it was really great day today, just kind of driving around the community, looking at the homes the projects we're working on within the town or the city, and some potential new sites. And I got to ride with Commissioner Schuster as well, and it was really great. So just a great day all around to be in Raton and Colfax County. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Santiago, and I appreciate you stopping by. I know you've got a busy schedule.
Yeah, I won't be able to make the event tomorrow. I have to be in Taos tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna head on home. But I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
All righty, anyone wish to address the commission at this time? Please come to the podium and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Julia Canodal. I'm the ex-wife of John Passetti. He lives at 108 Pecos. I was in the hospital during the last commission meeting, so I listened to it. And I'm looking for clarification from you guys as to what is going on. Because I heard threats of putting him in jail. We have not seen any statement or bill or anything for this cleanup that you guys had ordered. I understand it's been an ongoing problem. I've watched him spiral in his mental health for the last 2 years. He has 2 children, my son and my daughter who has autism. She's out in the lobby. This is a real person that you guys are talking about, this guy and this guy. Like, these are people that have issues. It's not just I don't know what you see when you see John. He has physical and mental health ailments. He has lupus. He has fibromyalgia. He's also unmedicated bipolar. This is a trickle-down effect that's affecting me and my children. My son also has severe depression. I've had to have the police come intervene to help my son because he sees what now I even perceive as harassment of Mr. Passetti at this property. How can you foreclose on a property that is even already paid for? Grandpa Passetti built that house with his hands. My sister-in-law still pays the property taxes so that that house stays in our family. So that if my children need a house when they're older, it's in the family. If there's a bill to be paid, we can address that. You can't just make claims of all this money that we don't even know how much it's owed. I heard $49,000 between 2 properties for a cleanup. For what? To take some junk that was $10,000? I would like to see a statement, an inventory of what was done, what it costs, and how we can pay it, so that my children do not fear that their dad is going to go to jail every day. Every time he leaves the house, he gets pulled over. For what? There's always an excuse to pull him over. I have been in this city for 25 years, and I've watched the corruption. I've watched it come back around. But this is like persecution of people that don't have any other means. He's a mechanic. He's a self-employed mechanic. A bunch of his tools that you guys thought were junk got taken. I see your smirky face, sir.
Ma'am, I'm not smirking at all.
I can see it in your face and in your aura. I'm sorry that you don't like people that are in a lower class position than you.
Ma'am, I'm very concerned. I did not know of your ex-husband's conditions, and I'm deeply concerned about that. We were not made aware of that.
Because you guys don't ask. You just see a drug addict, somebody that's a hoarder. No questions are asked about people in their, lives. I understand it looked trashy. I had to watch my house that I worked really hard for with him go to shit. Sorry, excuse my language, pardon me. It got trashed up. I worked really hard for that orange house at 524 South First. I tried to help. My son tried to help him. You can't force somebody with mental health to do things like that unless they get help. And in this day and age in society, I'm about to lose my insurance. Thank God I went to the hospital 2 weeks ago when it was covered. It's hard to get mental health for anybody, much less somebody in his position who has nothing. He has the tools in his hands. That's how he makes money. It's always how he's made money. That's how he provided for our children when they were small, when we were still married. I'm putting my name and my standing in this town on the line to stand up for this man. So if we can get some kind of progress with, help, I don't care how much it costs. I will pay you We will make payments. But you can't just say, give us $9,000, we're gonna throw you in jail, because that's what the statutes or whatever it said. Do you realize what your words do to children? That, like, you know, they're aware of what is going on with their father. Very aware. My daughter doesn't even want to come in here because she's afraid her brother is gonna lose his crap. Because we're all very concerned about John. We've always been concerned about John. 108 Pecos is a family home that is bought and paid for and built with somebody's hands, not a company. So if we could get paperwork showing what the cost of that cleanup is, can we make a payment arrangement? Can we start to try and pay you back so that there's not these threats of jail? It costs $104 on average to keep an inmate in jail per day in New Mexico. How is that gonna get you back your $9,000? That's all I have to say. I don't know, John, do you wanna say anything for yourself?
Yeah. I don't see how any of what you all do, if any of you know or are aware of what this cleanup actually was. It was basically a robbery. I'm a mechanic, and just a block down the street there's a Ford garage. It had the same things, more or less. It's more of it. And nobody's bothering a Ford garage. I don't ever bother anybody. I stay to myself, and I work on a lot of people's vehicles, and I don't rape and pillage them on the price what I charge them. I do good work, stand behind my work. Worked at Williams Automotive Machine for several years. And since then I've been on my own, doing my own thing. But after this cleanup, there's so much equipment and tools taken, I can't hardly do anything. And that's money that I paid for all that tools, and I needed them on a daily. And I was struggling as it was before, and I'm really struggling. It's hard to even survive. And I'm threatened by gonna go to jail. What am I gonna go to jail for? For trying to survive? You know? And I'm sorry about, you guys wanna take money for the things that you took from me. I don't see how that could even happen. How is that even possible for what even happened? They took camping equipment. It was like I say, adding insult to injury. My house got foreclosed on. There's no way I could have saved it because of the dangerous buildings label that was put on both properties. Just because my name was on it? Why was I singled out? Why was I singled out for this? Who actually did the inspections on the properties to say that they're dilapidated, falling down structures? Because they're not.
108 Pecos is sound.
So is 524. They're both sound houses. They're fine properties. George Riley has it in for me for why? There's nothing wrong with either properties. But like I said, my house got foreclosed on. There was no way I could have saved it, got a loan on it, reinstate my loan. I was supposed to be going into loan modification. Instead, I had sheriffs in my living room telling me my house wasn't my house anymore. So all my stuff got thrown out. That's what all the stuff was all over the place. That was my life out there. A lot of it got thrown away. And what I managed to save, the most important things, as soon as they hit the lawn over there at 108 Pecos, there was a notice on the door. I got less than 12 hours notice for this cleanup, and they came and they took care of it. There was even a gun cabinet taken. It had firearms in it, birth certificates and everything. I had to leave the scene quite a few times because it was just too much for me. I didn't want to lose it. And it was getting pretty close to where I might have done something. I could have gone to jail. I think anybody would have, How did you all feel if somebody came into your place and just started taking everything, your lawn furniture and everything? All your vehicles gone. They even towed my service truck I use on a daily basis. It has all my tools in it. That was one of the first things that they took. And then somebody, I still don't know who, anonymously, paid the tow bill on it. The rest of my vehicles are still, I don't even know where. They wouldn't even tell me where my stuff was going. There was lots of things that can be replaced that were taken. There's heirloom items, all like, I can't even begin to tell y'all what amount of my life was taken those few days. And I lost my house, now you're gonna try to take the other one. And I'm just trying to survive. And when the dangerous houses thing, that needs to really be looked into because there's nothing wrong with the houses. And really hurting property values for everybody else too, I think. And where's the credentials for whoever said that these were condemned buildings? Was it George Riley who said this, or who was it? Everybody just followed
Nobody
it.
ever had access to inside the homes to assess them, so how can you make that assumption from outside? That house was completely livable. It didn't have utilities. We had renters in there. How can we have renters if it's a condemned house? All of the proper paperwork was filed for the renters. Okay, we had to even evict those renters because they were screwing up the house. All I'm asking for is, I don't know, don't put John in jail. Can we work with you for the cost of this cleanup that you guys did?
I don't see anybody paying for it.
Well, you just about that. I'll worry about that. Because if you
What
don't
about
pay,
paying
then
for
you
the-
go to jail.
What about returning things that were taken from me? I
I
have
don't know
receipts
who
for
crossed that
everything,
bridge.
a lot of the tools and everything. A lot of the firearms,
What
the
is-
birth
what
certificates,
is
I can't, because they just take it.
What can you do for us today? Can we get a statement of what the cleanup cost? How much it would cost us to pay you back?
We'll get with city manager, that's
Who
this
doesn't live
here,
here?
and we'll get everything put together, and we'll take a look at it and see what the process was. The property was initially looked at because we were receiving complaints of the property from your neighbor.
You know what, if I was a neighbor over there, I would complain too. I'm not saying that it was wrong to do the cleanup. What's wrong is, there's been no paperwork filed to show what he owes. Now there's threats of jail time for not paying when he doesn't even know what he owes. How does he know when you're gonna be doing stuff on the commission? Like, I was in the hospital, like I said. If my child hadn't told me that you guys were talking about grandma's property, I wouldn't even known. His sister in Albuquerque doesn't know. She's the one that pays the frickin' property taxes. Like I said, we're trying to keep this house in the family. Do you know what, like, generational wealth is? That property is our generational wealth. We don't have a lot. We are both self-employed people. I don't want him to be persecuted anymore for just trying to survive. I drove over there to pick him up. I went through the alley. I don't know what you guys are talking about. He's re-trashing the place. He's got stuff. Everybody has stuff in their yard. He's in a commercially zoned area of the town as well. He lives right across the street from the metal shop. There's metal crap everywhere. You guys going after land saying, pick up all that stuff or you're gonna go to jail? No. I don't know who else is complaining, because now he's away from the other neighbors that he had problems with. He's just trying to survive.
And we will look into it, and we'll get you some information, and we will move forward.
Thank you. My number is there. You can contact me for anything. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alrighty, before we move into the agenda, we are going to remove item B from the agenda. Item B will be removed. And we'll move on to item A, deliberate and act on approval of the October 14th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. All had a chance to go over them. If there are no additions or corrections, they would stand approved as presented. Seeing none, minutes stand approved. Thank you. Item C, public hearing, deliberate, and act on ordinance 1034, regulating adult entertainment establishments in the city of Raton. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet is ordinance number 1034, which proposes regulating adult entertainment establishments within the city of Raton. Under the New Mexico statute empowering municipalities to regulate land uses for health, safety, moral, and general welfare, a municipality may regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for other purposes. Additionally, the Raton Planning and Zoning Commission convened a special meeting on October 23, 2025, to consider an ordinance regulating adult entertainment establishments following review of the proposed ordinance materials and discussion. The commission voted 4-1 to approve the proposed ordinance. Accordingly, the Planning and Zoning Commission respectfully recommends that the City of Raton Commission approve the ordinance regulating adult entertainment establishment as presented. And just for the record, the one vote against was they did not feel that the ordinance went far enough.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing on proposed ordinance number 1034. Is there any comment up in here? Any comment from the commissioners?
I just wanted, my only question I think has been answered is it's as tough as we can get. We can't go tougher
Correct.
because of the state.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Refresh my memory, C3 district is what?
C3?
Highway general servicing, it's on a lot of the main roads in and out of town, like Clayton Highway is mostly C3. A lot of South Second Street C3.
Okay. So they basically are restricting everywhere except C3.
Correct, and even C3 has restrictions as well as far as distance from residences. Yep.
Okay. All right, that's my question.
Any other comments, questions?
One question. So a lot of times C3 is higher than like industrial, light industrial and all that. So can it be in a different zone that's a lesser zone, or is it only C3?
It's only C3.
It would require a special exception.
To be able to be in a different.
Anybody else?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1034, regulating adult entertainment establishments in the city of Raton.
One second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Sagata,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Yes.
Motion passes. Ordinance passes. Item G, public hearing and deliberate and act on ordinance number 1035, repeal of section 70.99C regarding municipal court, traffic safety, and community corrections fees. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet is ordinance number 1035, proposing the repeal of section 70.99C of the city code, which currently concerns municipal court traffic safety and community corrections fees. This repeal seeks to align the city's code with the current state statutory scheme and requirements. The city recommends that you vote in the affirmative on this action.
This is general housekeeping, basically.
Essentially, yes.
So any questions, comments? This is a public hearing again, once again, on this ordinance. We had a presentation last meeting from the judge. Anyone? Would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1035, repeal of section 70.999C regarding municipal court traffic safety and community correction fees.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 1035. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Sagata,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Yes. Ordinance passes. Thank you. Item E, deliberate and act on Bellhuse Land LLC, Roy and Georgia Pillmore, preliminary plat for subdivision. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor and Commission, the Raton Planning and Zoning Commission convened a special meeting on October 23rd, 2025 to consider the subdivision permit request number 25-080 submitted by Bellhuse Land Limited Liability Corporation, Roy and Georgia Pillmore Following the review of the application materials and discussion, the commission voted unanimously 5-0 to approve the preliminary plan. Accordingly, the Planning and Zoning Commission respectfully recommends that the Raton City Council approve the subdivision preliminary plat request as presented. Excuse me, Jaden, then if they approve, this goes on to the ETZ?
This goes back to the P&Z board
P&Z board, I'm sorry.
and for the final plat consideration, and then it'll come back to you again at a future meeting.
Questions, comments? Would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the Bill House Land LLC, Roy and Georgia Pillmore preliminary plat for subdivision.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Sagata,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chatterley,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
and Commissioner Honeyfield.
Item passes. Thank you. Item F, deliberate and act on change order number 1 for the Visconti Building demolition located at 222 South 2nd Street for chain link fence. Mr. Messers.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet is change order number 1 for the demolition project at 222 South 2nd Street, the Visconti Building. The change order adds a chain link fence around the demolition site for public safety and project security. This change order aligns with the city's procurement and contract management policies under municipal code and ensures compliance with OSHA public safety standards. And again, this primarily is on the western side where there is a cliff between the alley and the property. The city recommends that you vote in the affirmative on this action.
Comments, questions?
I have an alternative that I think would be more appropriate. So I called BTU. They have available concrete barriers, precast. Come in 4-foot and 8-foot sections. Jason and I just did the calculations on it. It takes 17 barriers, 1 row. 8-foot barriers are $100 a piece. So if you went too high, that's $3,500. The city can actually set those themselves. And I think it would be more appropriate from a protection of the motoring public. What I'm concerned about is Jason Bennett is on his phone going down the alley and he wants to take a shortcut to Main Street. He would just bounce off the concrete barrier instead of ruining $11,000 worth of chain link fence. So I would like to counter our bid or deny it in consideration of that option.
All right, yeah, I'm glad you kind of clarified it was going to be too high, because I was thinking this came to our attention. If it was just one real high, we might still need the fence because somebody might decide to sit on it and do a backflip off of it.
Right, right. The other concern I had, though, was utilities. The fiber optic cable runs down that
That's true.
side of the alley. And I'm not sure where the gas lines run. So to put that chain link fence in there might be a little bit of difficult situation there. But like I said, I think the concrete thing, Jason and I would feel safer. Because I can't dial my phone and drive at the same time, so I could like veer off. He might forget and just try to take a shortcut, but anyway.
Is the width of those, is it take up too much of the alley, or are they pretty narrow? I don't know.
No, I want to say they're like a 2-foot by 2-foot block, and they're keyed on the top to where you can stack them.
And then, do you know about how high? Well, I mean, or too high is it's gonna prevent any
It'll be 4
person.
feet.
Okay, okay.
Tall,
Okay.
total. But each block weighs, an 8-foot block weighs about 3,700 pounds.
2 tons.
Yeah, almost 2 tons. Because that was the other concern I had, and Mr. Phillips thinks that the loader out at the sanitation department will pick those up without too much issue. And they actually have the appropriate tool.
Mr. Phillips, do you have anything to add?
I hate to step in the middle of Jaden's project, but it is a viable solution that we could execute. I think it, does stop vehicular traffic. They're only, I believe, 20 inches wide. The temporary fence that's installed right now is out probably a foot farther than that, but totally workable and would save some cost.
Jaden, you have any objections?
I drove it just on my way back here, and it looks like there's plenty of room for it, and it's a cheaper solution that achieves the same or more. So I appreciate the thought.
Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to reject.
Pivot?
Reject
Can
this
we-
and pivot to the other.
Is there a timeliness to getting the project finished, or should we wait for another estimate, or
I think we need to.
we could just pivot to that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to pivot to the precast barrier solution for this project.
Second.
A motion and a second to pivot. Is there any further discussion? And that means we are rejecting this proposal.
Gets rejected.
Jaden?
Just to be clear, it's just the chain link fence.
Right, we're just rejecting the chain link fence. Yeah, because we passed the other part last
Last
meeting.
meeting, so we're good.
So we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G, deliberate and act on an agreement between the City of Raton and New Mexico State Library for fiscal year 2026 state grant and aid funds. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet is an agreement between the City of Raton and the New Mexico State Library for the FY 2026 State Grant and Aid Program. The state statute governing library grants allows the state library to provide aid to municipalities and libraries to support operations and public service. The city's participation is consistent with the state's library enabling legislation and the city's statutory authority to contract under New Mexico state statutes. The city recommends that you vote in the affirmative on this action.
Comments, questions for Mr. Mestis?
Has the library yet indicated where they'd like to spend said funds?
You're on the library board. Yeah.
I mean, they need all the help they can get. Mainly, it would be nice if you could up the salaries of the employees.
Unfortunately, we can't up the salaries on this, but this is for,
Yeah,
Can?
this says it can.
Really?
Funds may be used for
That's a
library
yeah.
staff salaries.
Collections, library staff salaries,
yeah,
professional development.
because our salaries come from reoccurring funds, and this may or may not be reoccurring, correct?
Well, I mean, I think you could, but it's gonna take away from other programming and books and materials for the patrons, which is,
Yeah, but we have other funds for that are helping with different programs that Danny has started. And, I mean, they're at the bottom of the pay scale there. It would help. I mean, Danny could triple her salary if she went elsewhere. And she would like to have a little more help for her employees. It would help give them a little better work ethic, maybe,
The only
to
dilemma,
Rick's point, this may not always be a reoccurring revenue source,
Right.
is what you were trying to say.
well, and the other thing, this has to be totally expended by June 30th, 26.
I don't think there'd be a problem with that.
Sounds like there's a lot of need, no matter how it's spent.
Yeah, that's.
Now, if you haven't gone to some of the little history gatherings and other things that Denny's doing, she's She's doing a great job putting things together and coming up with really good ideas that promote the city of Raton and its history. It's very nice. Yeah.
I guess my only comment to kind of echo what Mike Land indicated, it's a one-time shot. I
Right.
mean, it's not recurring, so I mean.
I mean, historically, since I've been here, it is recurring, but the 10,000 is less than we received in the previous year, so we never know what the amount's gonna be.
I was surprised to see that it does save for salaries, because usually any state grant disqualifies salaries.
Well, the only thing they did, there was a provision in there where you could not reduce. In other words, the city couldn't pull
Right,
$10,000
right, no,
back
right.
on our funding, but.
So the library's always done a good job staying within the parameters, the allowable expenditures. I'm sure if Denny was here, she could speak to specifically her intentions on how to spend it. I just monitor that, I make sure that we're spending it within the parameters of what's allowed.
And I guess the reason I asked Ron was that I know she had indicated at one time trying to purchase some equipment for that maker space, and I didn't know how far that had gone.
I think she has some funding coming from one of the local foundations that she intends to use for that. Or that's her plans anyway, if she gets it.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement between the City of Raton and New Mexico State Library.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, deliberate and act on Tyler Technology Sourcewell contract number 060624, time lock software. Mr. Mestis. Mayor and Commission, in your packet is the proposed contract with Tyler Technologies via cooperative purchasing through Sourcewell contract number 060624 for time clock software. Under New Mexico procurement laws, the city may participate in approved cooperative purchase contracts to produce goods and services. This contract will modernize employee time tracking and streamline payroll reporting processes. I would like to say we're only about 25 years behind on this. The city recommends you vote in the affirmative on this. Questions, comments?
If I read this correctly, I'm sorry, it syncs with the payroll software?
Yes.
So it takes some work out of the whole process?
Right. And this is not going to be an overnight transition. This is going to be several months that, we're going to do department by department. But this will give us more accurate timekeeping, and an employee will be able to pull up their W-2, their leave slip, everything on their phone. It'll be very handy for the employees. Right now, we're still doing things paper, pencil, and it's very cumbersome, and we really need to, and this will be actually improve our record keeping as well.
So will they track their own time on their phone or on their computers, or?
Well, it could be either or.
There won't be time clock, just?
No, this is not time clock. This is all pretty
Modern, yeah.
high-tech, low drag.
Talking about the time clock, I think in your packet there might have been a photo of, so some sites may have a physical time clock. So, this building in particular, I mean, we could have a time clock. It could be a barometric type scan. But we have the ability to geo-fence, say, the warehouse where they would have to physically be on the property to be able to clock in with their phone. Or on a computer or whatever. So they do offer several different options. And so those would be some things as we're implementing this with the company that we'll need to make all of those determinations. But, automating the payroll, I agree with the city manager, does have some significant benefits. I think we did also look at another company's option, and we did their presentation as well. And so we kind of did a side-by-side comparison, and I want to commend Taryn Giacomo because this was kind of an assignment that we gave to her, and she did a very thorough job in kind of evaluating both options. But I think what we like best about Tyler is the integration with our existing computer system. You're not adding another company kind of into the mix as a third party. We know that this will integrate with our existing system, and then the technical support would be with the existing accounting company. So that's a huge benefit. Cost, we only weighed cost 20% of our weighted factors, but with the Tyler Executime, it was closer to about $66,000, whereas Time Clock Plus was going to come in closer to $75,000. So, and then of course, adding the portal, giving the employees the ability, like he said, to look up W-2s, know in real time what your leave balances are. You don't have to physically come into our office and ask to see the book type thing. I think that's very important for an employee. And then to be able to request leave and just kind of automate that whole process. So onboarding could take about 6 to 8 months. So this is a big project that we would be taking on, but we definitely wouldn't go live with it until we feel 100% comfortable that we've worked out all the bugs and it's going to work.
So page 2 of their quote, so the bottom line on the one-time fees, we pay once.
Yeah, so there would be the one-time fees, but then the annual recurring, which is fairly typical of the existing system that we have. Tyler Encode isn't a cheap software, but we do pay annual recurring fees for every module that we have that's part of our system. So there would be ongoing annual recurring fees after the initial implementation.
The big lift is setting it up.
Okay, but the recurring fees, that's for the entire city government, not location.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And what other municipalities have we contacted that use them, that are happy with their service?
You know, Taryn reached out to several, I don't know if I have all that information here. The Raton Public Schools, I think was one of them that she reached out to that uses.
This particular company?
We did a comparison with other organizations. I don't know.
Tyler's pretty standard throughout municipalities.
Okay.
I was even talking with our audit firm earlier, and so they said it's more typical to see a system like this than the current system that we have in place.
Yeah.
But it's very rare that they see entities of our size still using paper timesheets.
We use a similar system.
I think one of the more, one that's been around for a longer time is probably something called like Chronos. A lot of entities use that, but once again, I think there's a lot of different ones out there. It's just this specific one is with the existing accounting software provider that we have. And so the integration with our existing system is extremely important.
So you feel like their support will be adequate for a smooth transition?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was grants or there was one town that she reached out to that they started with one company and then they ran into problems and the company said, well, no, it's Encode, it's not us. And then they got caught in the middle and like nobody was fixing whatever the problem was. And it was kind of.
At one time, I didn't think Encode and Tyler talked to each other very well at one time.
What do you mean?
Integrated between each other. There were issues. This was back a few years.
With our existing software, or?
I'm just talking in general with communities that had Encode and were with, and I also went to Tyler. Tyler and Encode didn't communicate well
But they're
together.
the same company.
And then they must be the same company
Oh.
recently because they we're two different entities. but-
It's been Tyler Technologies since I started. They offer a lot of different products. Encode is just like the accounting software
Yeah.
side of it.
Because we use Insolve for North Central,
Insolve?
yeah, for our timing.
But that's a Tyler product? No,
it's
okay.
not. But then some of our municipalities that have senior centers have Tyler. No, I know at one time Guadalupe County had issues with Tyler and Encode.
Well, I mean, we've had Encode since before
Right.
my time.
Well, it's been here since I've been here. Yeah.
I know that you brought me a brochure from the conference on Triadic, which the city had years and years ago. It's a lot cheaper accounting system, but it doesn't have the capabilities that, Triadic is still kind of like a DOS-based system when you look at it. It's, it's good for a lot of smaller communities, I think, but it doesn't have nearly the capabilities. But yeah, Triadic, I think, is what you're thinking.
My apologies, sorry.
But yeah, before my time, the city was on Triadic, so.
Any other comments?
I would move to approve Tyler Technologies Sourcewell contract number 060624 time clock software.
A motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item I, deliberate and act on Resolution 2025-66, approval to dedicate sponsorship funding for Economic Development Summit expenditures. Mr. Mestis.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet is Resolution 2025-66, authorizing the dedication of sponsorship funding to cover expenditures for the Economic Development Summit. Municipalities may spend funds for their corporate purposes, including economic development, provided such expenditures are properly authorized by resolution and consistent with the annual budget and procurement rules. The adoption of this resolution ensures transparency and proper allocation of funds. In short, we raised a lot of money for the Economic Development Summit, and we are turning it back into the Economic Development Summit, therefore not using existing city funds. The city recommends you vote in affirmative on this action, and this is primarily a bookkeeping exercise.
Comments, questions?
So it's just all the sponsorship money goes back in to pay for all the expenses of the event. Looks
Correct.
great.
We get nicer mugs this year. I will give a huge compliment to Ann Tice. She really went above and beyond this year for the summit as far as securing sponsorships.
Great job.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-66, approval to dedicate sponsorship funding for Economic Development Summit expenditures.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, deliberate and act on Resolution 2025-67, fiscal year 26, first quarter financial report. Mr. Mestis, go ahead.
Well, Mayor and Commission, I yield the floor to Ms. Michaelina Tanucci, Raton City Chief of Staff.
Mayor and Commissioner, I believe our city clerk has given you an amended report. I guess we would need to amend that page as well. Today we were entering everything into the state's LGBMS system, and we noticed under Fund 407 there was an amount on your report. I believe it was 2,000. I can't remember. Let's see. So anyway, it was Fund 407, 2,821.50. So anyway, that figure shouldn't even be on this spreadsheet. I was using a spreadsheet from a prior period, so I apologize for that. But by the end of the day, we had everything in the LGBMS system and everything is in balance. So we've provided to you the amended reports for review this evening. The general fund gross receipts year-to-date, we're at 5.02% above our budget projection. This distribution reflects our August business activity, which includes construction and online sales. The gas tax distribution for October seems to have rebounded slightly, so we were glad to see that. It was $26,410. So even looking at prior months, that's actually a really good return. But we also did include in your packet this evening a chart that I had Taryn prepare for us that shows the period after COVID, which was unusually high, and that our current gas tax distributions are more reflective of the pre-COVID distributions. So I think that chart, this was the chart that's in your packet, kind of shows those pre-COVID distribution trends. So I know that's something that we've been monitoring for a long time, and very concerned. I still have not received any response from New Mexico Tax and Revs, so I don't know still with any certainty if we're getting the correct distribution, if they found anything of concern, but
Should have asked Santiago while he was here.
yeah, I might have, maybe I could reach out to him, yeah. I that piqued my interest when I heard that he had worked in several different agencies. So also the general fund available cash did go down this month, but that was due to the temporary transfer that we approved recently for the airport taxiway project. That reimbursement is still kind of on hold because of the government shutdown. So hopefully we can reimburse those funds as soon as it's received. Our federal single audit, I've included with your report a letter from the state auditor. This is kind of something on our radar right now, and it's kind of just been recently developing. Because of the shutdown, this could potentially require an audit contract amendment because the city will be required to have a federal single audit due to the amount of federal funds that we expended in the prior fiscal year. So in the coming weeks, we may have to bring an action to the commission if there is a contract amendment. You'll see in the letter, essentially, the December 15th deadline, because of our inability to do the federal single audit, would be extended to January 20th. So that's potentially what we're looking at. Sure.
I don't quite understand the federal single audit.
So they establish a threshold. So in prior years, it was $750,000. If you had more than $750,000 in federal expenditures, then the auditors have a separate guidance that they have to follow for federal standards and requirements. And what they'll do is I have to prepare a schedule that details out all of the federal grants, what the expenditures were, and then they'll choose whatever is the major program for that year, and then that's the program that they'll audit. So in past years, it generally is FAA because of the amount of funding that we get for taxiway projects. This year, it's looking like maybe it might be the JJAC grant, but then in the subsequent next year, it will definitely be the airport.
So you won't know until the feds make the determination of which?
No, the auditors will look at the schedule that I provide, and they'll see how much we spent in each program. So whichever one we spent the most in for this past fiscal year, that will be the one that they'll kind of narrow their focus. But this is a key component of our audit report. So in the back of our audit report, it usually is right before the pages where they list the findings, and there's kind of a checklist, and you'll see whether or not there was any findings specific just to the federal programs. And then there's also a submission that goes through a special system that has to be submitted by March 31st. So it's kind of essential that we get our audit in, approved by the state auditor, and then that separate submission to the federal agency by March 31st. If we miss that deadline, then that's an additional audit findings. I think we had that issue a couple years ago, and it was noted in our report. So anyway, just kind of giving that to you for kind of an FYI, something that might be forthcoming. The auditors just provided that to me last week. So we'll just kind of see. But, you know, a lot of these other entities have a lot earlier submission deadlines than us. So it's not just affecting municipalities, the state agencies, the schools, everybody listed in that chart. Now, certainly, if we do a contract amendment, we don't have to wait till January 20th to submit our audit report. We would, you know, as soon as they can get that federal single audit done, submit it as soon as possible. So I see it creating some sort of a backlog in the state auditor's office, but it could affect when our audit report is ultimately approved at the state level. So other than that, in your financial report, I did, you know, provide you the comparisons for gas tax, lodger's tax.
Didn't have lodger's tax. Lodger's tax, mine doesn't have it. Well, it doesn't have any amount in there.
We haven't collected October's, so we're looking at the September amount. It's $49,534.59. No?
Mine's blank. Oh, wait, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, so if you compare that with September from the previous year, we were actually showing down about $10,000. Sometimes the month of September, I think it's the Dawson reunion that's every other year, so sometimes we kind of see a little bit less revenue every other year in September, I think as a result of that. Cannabis taxes in your packet. I think the gas tax and the cannabis are the two that I have October figures, and then the lodger's tax always is like a month behind, so. Other than that, the amended financial report that you have is the one, the figures that will be submitted to DFA by the October 31st deadline. I stand for any questions.
Questions, comments? That's what threw me off. Everything else was October.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-67, fiscal year 26 first quarter financial reports.
Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item K, deliberate and act on Resolution 2025-68, authorizing changes to list of authorized personnel for in-bank deposits and petty cash. Mr. Messer.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet is resolution number 2025-68, identifying employees authorized to perform the following acts listed on the behalf of the city of Raton.
Just looking at the resolution real quick, could I make one change in the list of authorized employees? I meant to add Taryn Giacomo's name to the list. So if we could approve it with that one amendment, then I can get this into the bank and let me see, I think that's the only, so just, yeah, under authorized employees.
I guess I have a question though. How come the captain of the ship's name isn't in that list?
Who's that?
That's me.
I mean,
So
I-
this
I mean, it
is,
sounds a little peculiar, but.
so just to clarify, Rick, myself, the mayor and the mayor pro tem are on all the signature cards. So we can do banking transactions. This is just to allow my staff to physically take a deposit bag, walk it into the bank, and get a slip back. And then also, if we have petty cash, then any of my staff can walk into the bank and the bank will give them the petty cash
Right.
to replenish our cash drawers.
So if everybody's busy but him, you don't feel comfortable in letting him?
Well, I can't ever see a situation where we would have to ask the city manager to go to the bank, but we have had
I'm just
situations.
Don't say that. That's-
Well,
You know, the
yeah.
boss is usually the one he's delegating and he, you know.
But we do have situations where we're extremely short-staffed, and if their names aren't on this list, then the bank's not gonna allow them to transact the business on
I
behalf of
did,
the
well, I don't know,
city.
like I said, I just thought it was a little peculiar that the boss's name wasn't on
I
there.
mean, we could add the city manager's name, but.
Make me feel better about his job duties that, you know, Michael Ann can boss him around.
I think he has better things to do at this time than stand in line at the bank, but.
Well, one time I was at an Air Force base dropping off my dry cleaner, and I turned around and there was a 4-star general behind me with his dry cleaning, dropping it off. So I get it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it just. All right, I'll shut up.
And this is only needed for in-bank, because we no longer are taking any deposits to what is now UMB Bank.
I will move to approve Resolution 2025-68, authorizing the list of authorized personnel for in-bank deposits and petty cash, including the name Taryn Giacomo to the list.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item L, City Manager Report. Mr. Misses.
Mayor and Commission, bottom line up front. The city is currently hosting the 3rd Annual Economic Development Summit at the Raton Convention Center today. We had approximately 125 participants, great turnout. Mentions and dispatches, shout out to Leonard Zamora again for his unusual top-notch performance in putting together the logistics for the summit. The treasurer is headway into our annual audit. If you walked in the back, that's who all those people were. They were our auditors. Public Works crews are busy winterizing city parks and facilities. Police will be participating in upcoming career fairs. The fire department have completed their hose testing, and with engineering, we received a $238,000 grant to renovate kennels and runs at the animal shelter. The clerk wants to remind candidates that there is no campaigning or campaign signs on city property. We got a week to go. The economic development is preparing literature for upcoming space symposium in Colorado Springs, which they'll go, and our city engineer will go as well. And finally, a few closing thoughts. Two important dates coming up. First is a week from today, which is our election day. We encourage all citizens to get out and vote. Second is Veterans Day. My favorite quote from Abraham Lincoln, and is on the VA headquarters in Washington, D.C., which describes their mission: to care for him who shall have borne in battle, and for his widow, and for his orphan. So a shout out to the VA taking care of our veterans.
All right, thanks, sir. Closing comments, Commissioner Honeyfield.
Just that prior mayor passed away, Tony Pesavento.
That's right, I did hear that.
That's my only comment.
Commissioner Schuster.
I just want to say thank you to the veterans who are here and around. And if anybody wants to go visit a veteran, we do have a couple from Raton up at Wellsville.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I was going to echo that. Wish everyone Happy Veterans Day, and thank you so much for your service for those who served. Very much appreciate your sacrifice.
And I would like to say that I believe RPS changed out the flag today on Goat Hill, and I also had them address the lighting. Apparently the light has not been out, or not operating. You know, you need to illuminate the flag if you're gonna fly her at night. And it used to be, so hopefully they got that squared away, and also addressing one in the park across the street, so hopefully we got that taken care of. But yes, thanks to all of our veterans. All righty, seeing no other business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.